Welcome to Liberty Lap, where you'll find your Formula One news, analysis, and live stream commentary from an American perspective. Testing in Barcelona all week. Each team had 3 days of testing allowance. So what happened today? Day 4 in Barcelona, we had the Aston Martin come to town. We see Adrian Newey's baby, the AMR 26. Adrian Newey, for those who don't know, is one of the greatest engineer designers in F1 history. He came from Max Verstappen's Red Bull team, and he designed many of those championship cars. So it should be interesting to see what he can do for Alonso and Stroll with the Aston Martin this year. Let's look at that car leaving the pits this morning. It's sounding good in that Honda engine. They're the only ones running Honda this year. Okay, we've got Dr. Obbs with a breakdown on this Aston Martin, on this AMR 26. He says it's a very interesting nose shape with under-the-nose profiling we have not seen yet. It looks quite bulbous in the front, but becomes much slimmer as it tapers up and back, almost like a matched profile to the front wing, creating a bit of load in the nose-to-wing gap. So look at this front wing here. Maybe I can zoom in. You see this big gap here. And it's kind of matched. The wings matching the front nose here. He says that also the Venetian blind style floorboard with the upwashing elements we have seen on the other car on other cars, and pretty standard end plate. Yeah, this is the Venetian blinds upwashing. That's to keep the outwashing for the aerodynamics. FIA wants to keep that outwash wind, the vortices coming off of the car, away from the car. They want to keep it in the car and up, and they want to move it away from the passing car so we can have much tighter racing. Without that wind coming off the side of the cars, disturbing the car next to it. This is going to be an interesting year, guys, and some killer racing. I can already see it. The underbite side pod intake. Oh, yeah, it does kind of underbite, doesn't it? I know Newey was a huge fan of the design from previous regulation set and was not in favor of the move to the shark bite. So not surprised to see this choice. Let's look at that. That intake there. That's different looking. Wow. And also a fairly slim side pod shape with downwashing profile. And a large front undercut working with the floorboard to push air to the forward floor edge. And a Ferrari-style Cobra head strake near the halo for managing halo loss. Wow, all kinds of little designs that Adrian has put in on this car. And a Ferrari-style cooling outlet along the engine cover where you could normally generate some body lift. Wow, Adrian Newey designing the AMR 26 coming out of the garage there. Congratulations to Aston Martin, the good-looking car, but also a great-looking car. Aston Martin, that they haven't even unveiled their color scheme yet. But we have a killer-looking car from McLaren, the championship team from last year. Look at this ride, guys. Is that not sharp? Wow. Look at that nose. You got this element here. That's different, sticking out and going down. It's pointed downward at the back of this little element. And you've got, look at this nose. These curves are sweet, aren't they? All right, cool. I have to move on from that. I could just look at that car for a while. Let's listen to Lando's take on these new cars. What's he saying about them?
Yourself and the team here at the Shakedown, of course. But how much are you enjoying getting to grips with the new spec 2026 cars?
It's pretty different. Quite not even a huge step. I think it's a bit of a step slower. in terms of cornering speeds. In terms of like acceleration and straight line speed, it probably feels quicker than it did last year.
Slower corners. That's probably going to mean more passing, if you ask me, and a bit more straight line speed. These things are fast.
You get to 340, 350 quite a bit quicker than we did in previous years. So, it's a bit more of a challenge in many places, which is a good thing. But then you have a bit more to understand from the battery, the power unit. All of those things are in some ways more complicated.
Yeah, they've had a lot to learn on these new cars. A lot of new buttons on these steering wheels.
And just different. And whenever something's different, it always takes a bit of time to figure out the best way to look at it, to manage it, to use it. But that's what these days are for us, are used for us for. So, I think we got a good understanding today. It's still going to take a while. The conditions here are quite different to what they're going to be in Bahrain, what they're going to be in Melbourne. But it's just trying to gather as much information in every condition possible, whether it's going to rain in the next couple of days or be dry or whatever. The more laps we can do, the better. So, nice to be back. Different feelings, of course. Still feels like a McLaren, but still feels powerful. Still feels like a Formula One car, which is the most important thing.
He looks happy. It's all about the data, getting out there and collecting all this data. Okay, we've got also Lando speaking a little bit more. Here we go.
Oh, just how special a moment was that to roll out of the garage with the number 1 on the car? It's a big milestone in your career.
Yeah, he got his new number 1.
It is.
He took that number from Verstappen last year. The winner gets to choose their car number.
It's still, I saw it actually earlier on the timing screen, and it's still, I still find it, just unbelievable. Like, it's still a crazy thing to see, especially when you see it now. Now is really the first time I get to see it on my suit, on the car, on timing screens, all of these things, and it looks good. So
he deserves that number 1 car, guys. He's a good driver, championship driver.
Still a surreal feeling, the whole situation of being champion, but doesn't change anything apart from I'm at the top of the timing screens before we've even gone out because I'm the lowest number now. Pressure's on, but at the same time, it's just it's cool. It's great for the mechanics. It's great for all of them to have that feeling and that honor. But it doesn't change anything otherwise. It's still hard work, a lot of work that we have to put into everything.
So he's getting used to that number 1 number on his car. Okay, what else we have? We got a Ferrari here running in the rain. Let's take a listen at this Ferrari. Ooh. Man, I love that sound. All right, cool. And we've got a Cadillac. Where's my Cadillac? We do try to cover some the American teams, of course, making a move in the sport. Here we go, special edition livery, right where it belongs on track. So this is Cadillac here. This is a special edition livery, and I think this is just for testing. I don't think this is going to be, of course, there's no sponsors or anything, but let's listen to it on the track. Cadillac's sounding good. Okay, we've got Sky Sports and their take on the situation here on the ground. Let's listen in.
George Russell's got a big grin on his face at the end of each.
Yeah, those Mercedes have been running tight. Before we get to this, let's look at those lap times. George Russell today, day 4, as well as yesterday, both Mercedes leading in lap times. Lap times aren't that important, of course. It's all about gathering data this week. But it's interesting to see these Mercedes running pretty good. George Russell fastest, Kimi Antonelli second, Charles Leclerc third, Piastri with his McLaren fourth, Arvin Limbaugh with the Racing Bulls fifth, Lewis Hamilton Ferrari sixth, Liam Lawson Racing Bulls seventh, Sergio Perez with his Cadillac is eighth, and Lance Stroll ran today with his Aston Martin. He ran 29 laps on that Aston Martin. So there's your 9 drivers that were out on the track today. We had 2 Mercedes, 1 Ferrari, 1 McLaren, Racing Bulls There's another Ferrari, Racing Bulls again. So both Racing Bulls, both Ferraris, one Cadillac, and one Aston Martin. All right, what's Sky Sports saying here?
George Russell's got a
Is he talking about these Mercedes engines?
George Russell's got a big grin on his face at the end of each day, hasn't he? I mean, I suppose they're having to fight off us putting the mantle of strong favourites for the championship on them, even at this early stage. The interesting aspect to all of this, and McLaren are talking about it as well, is if they all have the same power unit, yes, and they all have to run it within tighter parameters. The customers are protected these days in a way that they maybe weren't back in 2014 when Mercedes came in and dominated. But it's the...
for those that don't know, a customer team. Some of these teams are only customer teams. They build their cars, yes, but they don't actually build the motors and maybe some of the other parts. It all depends. Like Haas, all they do is buy different parts and put them together. But at least they're putting them together, you know. But yeah, that's called a customer team. They buy their engines from a manufacturer. The top manufacturers in this sport are Mercedes engines. We've got Ferrari engines. We've got, of course, Red Bull and Ford working together. We've got, who else? We've got, of course, the Haas and Cadillac are using those Ferrari engines, like I just mentioned, Ferrari. And then those Mercedes engines, you got McLaren and Alpine using those. And then the Red Bull, you've got the Racing Bulls using those as well. So there's a lot of motor sharing going on. And there's also the new Audi motors. And Cadillac will be building their own pretty soon as well. So I'm probably missing one. No, let's keep going.
Is they being able to exploit the power unit.
Oh, yeah, the Honda for the Aston Martin. Honda made a deal with Aston Martin this year.
It's best, which is maybe going to be the differentiator for the first part of this year. And presumably Mercedes have a better early handle on that than...
So for those that don't know, you know, the whole compression ratio, it has been... you know, Mercedes and Red Bull, they have found a way to get a higher compression ratio when the engine actually warms up. And they're thinking that the other teams, the other motor manufacturers did not exploit this. So there's probably going to be an advantage. And there's been a lot of years like this in the past on F1 where teams exploit something and other ones can't catch up. But we do have, luckily, the Mercedes has the most customer teams. So that's good. There's three teams that are running those Mercedes engines. And then you've got, 6 cars running Mercedes engines. And then the Red Bull's pulling the same trick. That's 4 other cars. That's half the field right there.
And a lot of the rivals, even though McLaren have been liaising with them, you know, for over a year, discussing that the concept of this power unit. George Russell's got a big...
So Mercedes power unit is a threat. We shall see what happens. Let's head into day 4, Friday tomorrow, with some good testing. Let's get some good data from some of these teams. And we will see you on the next Liberty Lap. Peace.